Welcome to the Breakthrough to Excellence podcast. I'm Jasmin Haley, healthcare provider turned educator, entrepreneur, and startup strategist. Not too long ago, I was burnt out, overwhelmed, depressed, and full of fear from a toxic work environment. I created my business out of necessity to create a legacy I can be proud of today. It helps me transform the lives of women every single day to pursue their dreams and entrepreneurial goals. I created this podcast to share the empowering stories of entrepreneurial women, help you break through self-doubt to your greatness, and share business strategies to help you create a thriving and profitable business. If you're an emerging entrepreneur or business owner that wants to create the mindset needed to escape burnout, reclaim your personal power, and pursue your entrepreneurial dreams, this podcast is for you. Stay tuned and listen in. Hey there. It's your host, Jasmin Haley of the Breakthrough to Excellence podcast. This week's training is all about building brand authority. I'm going to share 3 ways in which you can build brand authority. It's oftentimes when I'm speaking with my clients, they are often asking, how can I get more visible? How can I find my community? How can I find people who trust me, who like me, who want to get to know me, who want to purchase from my services? How do I get them to get to that point of being completely cold to a warm audience? And it's really simple. It just also takes strategic thinking and consistency. So I have simplified it as much as possible for you to get started. Just get started now. One of the biggest things I would have to say that really challenges us as entrepreneurs is when we are out doing all the things and we don't see immediate results. Most of us are very much like me. We're very intense type A personalities. And so we're task oriented as well. We like to check off list, right? When we learn techniques or strategies, we think often, or we may not even say it or even think it, but internally our body's reaction to results is showing that. So we think that, and we also feel sometimes also our ego gets involved, that it has to happen right now. No, it does not. In fact, this entrepreneurial road that you're on is a marathon. Okay, it doesn't happen overnight. And if there are people out there who have said, okay, I've had this major success, I've had this major, amount of money I've made, that's great. I'm happy for you. That is not the average experience for an entrepreneur. We're all figuring it out. And in addition to that, more than likely, if they started their business and they had a huge growth, right? They had already built a brand and a community that already knew that they existed. But when you are starting from scratch, whether you've had a brand already and you're going through a business pivot like I am at the time of this recording, it's a marathon. And there's so many offers out there that are saying, I could teach you in 3 weeks to be a millionaire. I could teach you in 2 weeks to be a 6-figure business. It doesn't happen overnight. Why do we keep wanting these immediate results? That's why so many businesses fail. So many of them. They didn't plan accordingly. They didn't have enough capital to hold them steady as they're going through this roller coaster ride of entrepreneurship. It's been likened in some books as the death valley. There is a death valley in business. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, Jasmin, why in the world am I doing it? Because it is amazing as well. When you get a chance to truly live in your purpose and impact the lives of people, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. I was in a breathing work class with a beautiful person named Tracy Neely. I have to give her a shout out. One of the things that she said in the breathing work that we were doing that made me cry, y'all, ugly cry. She said, your purpose is someone else's medicine in their life. Ooh, let that sit in. Let that sit in, y'all. Tracy Neely said, your purpose is the medicine in someone else's life. There's a reason why I keep showing up here. There's a reason why I keep showing up in my free Facebook group. There's a reason why I'm showing up in my social media platforms. And it's because I know that there are other Jasmines out there that just needed to hear someone like me tell them, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be okay. You can do this. You can go beyond anything you could ever imagine. And it brings me to tears because the work that I do is simply to break the generational curses that I've been handed down, to change and flip the script for my own children. That's why I do what I do. You've got to have a deep understanding of your why, y'all. You got to get clear on who it is that you serve and how you're going to serve them. And this training is going to break that down for you. Thank you for giving me space to shed a tear or two. I'm one of those dramatic criers. Oh, but every time I say that, it brings me to tears because it's so much deeper than just getting a paycheck, right? And just getting that payment. It's really changing the lives of people so they can be fulfilled, so they don't have to be burnt out, walking around here like zombies, completely soulless because they have been run down. That's where I was, y'all, in the pit of despair 8 years ago, in the pit of despair. So I know exactly why I do what I do. I know why I show up, and I'm blessed to be able to do what I do to help you all get through the fear, get your business organized, get you to the place where you're making an impact while also building your business to 6 figures or more. We can do it. We can do it. So I hope you enjoy this training. Know that I give these trainings live inside of my Facebook group, Breakthrough to Excellence from Side Hustler to CEO. I welcome you. I want you to join. It's a place for us to connect. It's a place for you to learn from me and perhaps even go further because I have further and deeper programs. I have an amazing team that can help support you. You need that support. You need that support. We cannot do this entrepreneurial journey alone. So I thank you for your time and I hope you enjoy this training. I want you to please, 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 if you found this training or any of the episodes to be valuable to you, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps others find me. It helps up the chances for me to get more downloads so that more people can hear this message. More women can help improve their lives personally and professionally. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our online training. You happen to be either watching this live or you're listening to it on my podcast, Breakthrough to Excellence. I am Jasmin Haley, an online business strategist, and we are going to be talking about 3 ways to build your brand authority. Listen to me. This is everything. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you that every single topic I talk about is everything, right? But this has been such a crucial piece to why I was able to grow and scale my business. And what I didn't realize was when I was starting my business, everything that I was doing was building brand authority. And that brand authority gets people referring to you, gets you the recognition where you don't have to pull teeth, no pun intended, even though I'm a dental hygienist. You don't have to pull teeth for people to feel like you and how you provide your services is something that they desire. So when I first started my speaking career, I sent out one email to like all the dental hygienist associations and groups that I can find, telling them that I was a speaker. And out of all of those emails, I said, how many responses do you think I received? One. And it was from someone that knew me. And you know what her response was, even though she knew me? Thank you so much, Jasmin, for contacting us. Unfortunately, we won't be able to utilize your services. But guess what, y'all? A year later, they were emailing me. You know what I'm saying? Asking me to come and speak for them. Why? Because I built that brand authority. I didn't let that stop for me. So if you get this down pack and you show up consistently, when I speak now, when I go out and I do anything with my brand in the previous industry that I was in, those speaking gigs come from referrals, someone seeing me, right?
or the work that I get even with clients comes from referrals, right? So this brand authority is important because it's going to make it very clear on who you are and how you can benefit individuals. Now, one of the key things I need you to understand is that a lot of times when I'm speaking, I'll come up with like these weird analogies because that's how my brain works, but it really makes sense in a lot of ways. So one of the key things I need you to understand is building brand authority is essentially sounding like a broken record. All right? So a broken record is like like that, right? Like you keep going like right? So a broken record is repeating the same portion of the song over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's what building brand authority is. Okay? Many of us feel like, well, if I post this post 7 days, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing that. I'm ready to give it on up. Why am I not seeing results? Well, you got to be sound like a broken record for an extended period of time. This is a marathon, y'all. It is not a sprint. So you've got to stay consistent. You got to stay faithful, right? Okay. And you've got to understand there's a reason why people keep saying this, and it's because it works. It works. So let's go into the content. First, I want to say welcome. You've had enough time to actually grab a pen and paper, which I hope you have done that because I want you to get to work. I've got another acronym for you. I'm on a roll with these acronyms for some reason. Who knows? It may change into something else, right? But guess what? That's my business. Like Miss Tabitha Brown says, I show up and I'm authentically who I am every single time that I step in front of y'all. So who am I? I'm Jasmin Haley. I'm the founder of this amazing network, the Breakthrough to Excellence Network. I'm an award-winning national speaker, podcaster, and pro educator, and I stumbled into entrepreneurship. I left a toxic job after being there for several years, getting physically, mentally, spiritually burned out, and took my skills and built a six-figure business in the dental industry. And in 2020, I decided to pivot outside of the dental industry and focus on serving entrepreneurial women to help them overcome the same fear that I dealt with, the same sabotaging decisions I would make because I didn't feel like I was worthy. And I helped them get to a place where they are scaling their business, focusing on strategy, still being a heart driven, purposeful led entrepreneur to six figures or more. So I'm about that business. You know what I'm saying? And why? Because 90% of female entrepreneurs will not make it to six figures. And me from Jamaica, Queens, New York City, who was surrounded with a scarcity mindset, was able to figure it out, y'all. You can too. All right.
So, let me ask you guys a couple of questions here. Are you finding it hard to find your ideal clients? Are people telling you they are uncertain of exactly what you do? So, when I first started my own business and my own brand, I'm a multi passion entrepreneur, and that's not going to change. Okay. But I had many people say to me, well, Jasmin, what exactly do you do? Because I was a speaker, I was podcasting, I was blogging, I was sharing incredible lives of people in the industry that I was in. Okay. That affects you tremendously. If people can't say, I need an expert in X, Y, and Z, and they can't say that you, John Smith, is the answer for that, then there's something going on with your brand authority. It needs to be clear as day. In fact, when we get to certain parts of here, I want you to really, as I'm going through these prompts to get you thinking, I really want you to ask yourself, am I doing enough to make it clear about who I am and who I'm serving? Okay. So here are the facts. Building brand authority is non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. It's a part of you building your community around your brand. You need your community in order to be profitable. Okay. So one of the key things I see that okay, yep, that's totally fine. And guess what? This will stay up here so they can catch the replay if they need. All right. So building your brand authority is non-negotiable. All right. It stakes your claim as an expert in your field. When someone says they need a copywriter, I want to make sure if I'm John Smith and I'm a copywriter, they're saying my name. If someone is looking for a business strategist and they're dealing with some fears and some self-sabotage decisions that they're making, and they just really don't understand how to get their business organized, I want them to say Jasmin Haley, because it stakes my claim as an expert in my field. And therefore, what will happen when they're dealing with a specific pain point that I serve? I want them to think of me. So building brand authority will also help your ICA, which is your ideal client avatar. It will help them to know that they can reach out to you for your specific pain point that you solve. And it also builds the trust, like, and know factor with your community. When you take the steps to strategically demonstrate what your brand represents, people will begin to understand who you are. They'll begin to trust you. They'll begin to like you. And then once they really know you, then that leads to them seeking out your services. One of the biggest challenges I had as a heart-centered, purpose-led entrepreneur was feeling like, well, how can I be heart-centered and still focus on revenue? But again, guys, it comes down to this. You started a business to make an impact. Well, you can't make an impact without funds to run it. Your brand authority directly affects that in many ways, more than one. As I stated, you've got to get clear on who your brand identity is and your authority. So, for instance, as a speaker, all of my topics are related to the actual field that I was working in and the demographic I was working with. My expertise works in the form of public health, but specifically with serving patients who live with HIV. So every topic that I spoke of in the healthcare industry was focused on my work with the HIV population. So anytime someone said, "Oh, I've got a question about HIV. I've got this, I got that, I've got this," they would come to me. And if and when I decided, which I did, to branch out on my topics and talk about burnout and talk about achieving goals, I've centered it around my own experiences that I was already sharing on a regular basis. So your brand identity and authority can directly impact your coins. You want to make sure that what you're putting out there is related to the overall big frame or goal or foundation of what your business represents. So what does it represent? Who do you represent? Tell me in the comments. Who do you represent? What do you do? What do you do? And if you don't know, state that. I don't really know right now. And that's okay. That's where you know you need to do some work, right? Before you start really focusing on this thing and that thing, that's where you may need to do some work. All right, here are the 3 ways to build your brand authority. Okay, I've got to my I don't know. Great, I appreciate that. I talk about burnout and hostile work environments. Okay, you talk about burnout and hostile work environments, but what specifically? That's too general. How are you helping with that? Okay, you talk about it, but what does that mean to someone? So, like, really, really get into that. So, okay, you're an expert on sleep. Okay, but how do you help people? How do you help them? Someone said they're an expert on sleep. Someone said, I don't know. Okay, that's good. All right. When you get really clear on that, that may, because if you get to that point and you're not really clear on exactly how it is that you help people, you're going to find that you're struggling with making money in your business. You're going to be struggling getting booked as a speaker. You're going to be struggling getting clients. You're going to be struggling on so many other aspects because you're not clear. Okay, this is help others find the root cause of breathing and myofunctional disorders and solutions. Great. Finding the root cause, that's going to eventually get them to what result? Do you see what I'm trying to pull from you? So when I stated to you guys, I said I help entrepreneurial women overcome fear, right? Get their business organized and do what? And to scale and grow their business to 6 figures or more. I know who it is that I'm helping. I know how I serve them, and I'll show y'all some receipts. Okay? So the acronym for 3 ways to build your brand authority is who do you serve, how do you serve them, and receipts. So WHR. Who do you serve? How do you serve them? Keep all of your receipts. These are the three ways to build your brand authority. And I'm going to break down what each of those mean. And then I'm going to demonstrate to you, please have a pen and paper of what kind of content you need to focus on as you're building this brand authority. So the acronym is WHR. Who do you serve? How do you serve them? And then you need to keep all of your receipts. Because one of the things that I find mostly with female entrepreneurs is they have a really, really hard time with flexing. And as a business owner, to build brand authority, you have to flex. You have to share and demonstrate how you've been successful and how you've helped people get results. So again, remember. If you don't know right now, that's okay. You can start off with something as simple as, what lights my fire? What do I enjoy doing? What are some of the things that people tend to come to me always over and over and over again? I knew I loved educating, and I knew I loved working with persons living with HIV. I didn't start off with that topic when I was speaking at first. I certainly didn't do it. I didn't start coaching either at first. It's a form of education, coaching or consulting and things of that nature. Things started building along the way. But first, I looked at my toolbox. I looked at what I had already. What were my God given talents I had that I enjoyed? And I thought about my own experiences of life and what I could utilize based on those skills, how I can utilize that to monetize it. And if you ever feel really stuck, hop on a coaching call with me and we can discuss that, and I can weed out some of those tumbleweeds that you may have at this point that is affecting you and being clear, because it's lack of clarity that can ultimately affect you from really growing a profitable business or even just getting started with a business. One of the responses from the attendees that are watching this live stated, reducing facial pain. Great. So now let's go back to, I can't see your comment previously, but I would put that as a part of what you initially wrote down, which is what the result was, the overall result, right? Put that together. All right. So someone mentioned here, there's another one that I want to read this out to you. Someone said, I help dental hygienists know their value. What does that mean? Right? What exactly does that mean? What's the transformation that you can give them that will get them to the result they're trying to look and find and they're seeking? So pull that out, dig in that a little bit more, write out a little bit. Okay, this is the result I'm going to give people. This is the transformation I'm going to take them through. And this is something, whether or not you have a product based business or a service, it doesn't matter. What's the transformation that people get when they buy a Nike? What do they tell you the transformation is if you are using their brand? They're often using marketing images that make you feel like you're going to be like Serena Williams out there. Am I not right? Okay. So there, even product based businesses show you a transformation of some sort. And that's the kind of one of the things we talk about in my 100K framework, which is my flagship offer, is the psychology of sales and understanding that there's a transformation, or I would say almost a ladder. And I'm thinking of some theories right now in educational methodology, which is why I'm pausing right now. It's like a behavioral change that happens when someone decides to make a purchase. And you've got to understand that going forward when it comes to your brand authority. All right, so let's first look at the who. All right, sis, you got to get very clear and specific on who exactly you're serving. Okay, it affects the factors such as how you charge for your services and who is attracted to your business. So some of you may say, okay, let's go back to the copywriter. I am helping dental practices. I am helping business coaches who are struggling with their copy to create sales pages, right? And yet they are charging a price that may not fit that specific demographic. So let's go back to the concept of who. Understanding who you serve will also take in consideration on what phase are they in their life. Are they of a younger age? Are they a mid-age adult? Are they someone that already has a particular job setting, right? Are they a well-established person that may be older? Where are they typically hanging out? What's important to them? Those are kind of things that are important to kind of consider. Now, I don't believe in doing like a whole, there are people out there that will recommend that you do like a whole huge like market research, write down everything. But when it comes to determining your client avatar and who they are, it's really, really simple. It's really simple. It's so simple as just figuring out what their pain point is and where are they in their point in time of life. So I work with women that are mostly from ages 35 to 55. I also know that I work with business owners that are at the very beginning stages and those that have been working. Some of my one-on-one clients are already making 30,000 a month. So the prices that I charge for someone in the beginning stages will not be the prices I would charge for someone that is already in their business making 30K. Really understanding who you serve, where they are in their particular life, demographics, the socioeconomic status, like all of that really plays a part in how you build your brand authority. So I need to make sure that I'm very clear if I'm putting out services or if I'm putting out any type of blog or content or podcast, that I'm making it very clear on who is it specifically that I'm speaking to and how they can benefit from this knowledge. Are you aware of who you're speaking to? Do you find that you're getting clients that are coming to you that are always saying, I'm sorry, this isn't right for me? And many of the reasons may be in your branding and how you're building your brand authority. You're not using the language that will attract the type of person you truly want to serve. All right, so here's another one here. I am a nonprofit consultant. I help people start their nonprofit by encouraging and empowering to start. I show them how to do it themselves or file the paperwork for them. Now I know what Sandy Maxwell does. Okay? That is perfect. I'm so glad to know that. So, guess what? I know that she helps nonprofits. She's a consultant for them, and she's going to help them get started to file that paperwork that takes forever and a day. So, guess what? If a client contacts me and they want help, and I'm focusing on women growing a for profit business to six figures or more, and they haven't yet started their nonprofit, who do you think I'm going to refer to? I'm referring to Sandy because I'm very clear on what she is, okay, and who she serves and the transformation she's going to provide for them. Does that make sense? All right. Here's another comment here. That's a real good way to look at it. It makes you let people that say I'm too high go and not feel like I should have bargained. Yeah, absolutely. 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 And so you got to really think about like the clientele that you're speaking to. And is your language stating that you're speaking to them? So, for instance, I started getting a lot of people at the very beginning stages of business. And I thought it was very important that I make it also very clear that I do have higher level people that I have worked with that are in their business, mid range in their business. So it was important for me to start changing the language around my brand as I'm building my brand authority that was solely focused on the beginning, starting phases of business. Do I have something for people at the very beginning stages? Absolutely. It's called your Start Your Biz membership, but it's not my primary focus because I'm ready to take people who already have established their business, get them to consistent 10K months or more, and get them to six figures or more in their business. That's my primary focus. Do I still have people at the beginning stages? Absolutely. I welcome them. So when it comes to you building brand authority, know that because you're almost like niching down, right? And you're getting very clear about who it is that you serve, it doesn't mean that you won't get someone that doesn't quite fit that category. You will determine how in your business you'll develop an offer to serve them. So let's go back to Sandy's example. Sandy said that she's a nonprofit consultant. She helps people start their nonprofit by encouraging and empowering them to start. She shows them how to do that. Now, does that mean that Sandy can't help that nonprofit owner be able to move past that start phase? Could she help and consult them after they've started to get organized and to get to a place where they're bringing in the right kind of people, the right kind of grants that they need to keep moving forward? Absolutely, she can still serve them once she's gotten to that point. But because she's very clear on what she is doing, she's able to build her brand authority much quicker than someone that is all over the place, like I was at the very beginning. Okay. I want you remember that map analogy, and I've been putting it into every single one of my presentations. You have to think of that map. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know who you serve, and what transformation you're going to provide for them, your biz will not be cohesive and therefore it won't be profitable. You will not be able to be profitable. You're going to find yourself having 50 million and one different offers trying to serve everybody. You can't. You've got to be clear. Now let's look at the how. What is your client's pain point? What is it that they're struggling with? The women that I work with are scared. Why? They may have some mindset issues surrounding from trauma in their past. I don't know, right? They are finding ways in which they get a little bit of momentum and then they fall back, and then a little bit of momentum and they fall back. And they're tired of the feast and famine in their business and they just want to get their ish together. They want to get it organized. They are sick of where things are going. They know there's possibility out there. They need help. That's my client avatar. I have people who are making 30K a month. That's great. But guess what? Even them, those type of business owners, it's hard to scale without organization. I still help them. I still help that person. So they are still having a very similar pain point. And I understand how I serve them. So how are you serving your client? What are you doing? What kind of transformation are you giving them? And how is that expressed in your social media presence? How is that expressed? The other question I have, where you're probably thinking, well, what does the how have to do with this next question? My next question is, where does your sales funnel begin? Because as you get firmer on who it is that you're serving and how you're serving them, you've got to direct them somewhere. You've got to direct these people somewhere. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, okay? So there's a comment here I want to read. It says, I'm a trained myofunctional therapist, but I know deep in my soul I'm meant for more. My passion is educating parents and providers on pediatric sleep disorders. I am meant to teach more than on a one-on-one basis. I need to make a bigger impact. Thank you so much for sharing that, Naomi. And so, what I want you guys to know is that when I first grew my brand and I was creating that brand authority, I wasn't doing all that I'm doing today. But you've got to start somewhere. I was blogging, I'd started my podcast, and I was just speaking. I was not coaching or consulting, right? But you've got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. So if that means that you're going to do one on one right now, right? Then do that one on one and rock it out like the queen you are. Get that brand so strong that when you're ready to scale, which you can make that bigger impact. But what happens to most of us is we get tired, we get run down, right? We don't know how to get our business organized, and then we just give up. And the people who you see in the industry, any industry that has incredible recognition for the brand that they've built, is because they stayed consistent and they kept going even when it was tough. I told you guys just a few months ago, I was questioning whether or not this was the right decision for me to pivot into helping entrepreneurial women. You know what I decided to do? I decided to keep moving forward, and I kept moving forward with hiring more people to delegate, even though my circumstances were looking bleak. This is diving into another thing here, but you've got to understand that when you're clear on who it is that you serve and the transformation, stick with it. Know that you're not limiting yourself. Didn't I just tell you guys? I hope people are at the beginning stages. I got something for them. I got something for someone that's ready to scale up to 6 figures or more in their business. They can work with me in my group if they want to, or if they want to work with me one on one, they have that option. And I beta test things. You guys know I'm doing a beta test right now to see if this is a viable option. All business owners are figuring it out. All of us are figuring it out. So just be aware that being clear right now on who it is that you serve and how you serve them will make it easier for you as you're figuring it out, right? And as you're trying out different things to help your potential client or customer. All right. Let me know if you understand that. Okay. Let me know if you get what I'm trying to say right now. Now, I asked the question of where does your sales funnel begin? Because if you know that you help a specific subset of the population and how you serve them, how are you going to introduce them to how you solve your pain point? That's the beginning of a sales funnel. It could be a contact form, it could be Facebook group, it can be your email list. Somewhere you've got to start nurturing that person. Somewhere. So where does yours begin? And if you don't have one, honey, you need to contact me and stop spinning your wheels. Okay? If you don't know where you're going, your biz will not be cohesive. Think of that map, and therefore it will not be profitable. So let's get to our third way to build this brand authority. So we talked about who, we talked about how, and now we're going to talk about receipts. These receipts are so important, y'all. Social proof is everything. Social proof is everything. Social proof is everything. It can really make and break you. So you really need to start collecting them today. If you've helped people right now, and if you've helped people for free, you better get yourself a testimonial and make a video, please. Okay? Video is powerful, honey. A lot of us are afraid to ask people for testimonials. In fact, you've got to realize that your follow up game, when it's strong, when it comes to following up with people that could potentially purchase from you, when it comes to following up with people that get testimonials, sometimes I've had to contact someone 3 or 4 times to say, yeah, I'll get you that testimonial. And I've contacted them 3 or 4 times. And guess what? I don't have an ego. I have no shame in my game. Okay. Why? Because that's an income generating task, that testimonial. Testimonials builds brand authority, which builds the trust like no factor, which leads people to wanting to purchase my services. So, yes, indeed, I will follow up with you 3 or 4 times. Yes, I will. And have no shame in my game because this is a business I have to run. Your receipts are important. Your receipts can be people, DMing you and saying how wonderful you were and how impactful you were and the results they got from working with you or the results they got from using a product that you've created. Screenshot, I black out their names, sharing that on social. If you got a Facebook group, certain things that people are saying, protect their privacy, but share that. Your social proof can be showing the behind the scenes of you as you're working. Right now, if you don't have a testimonial, and if you really need testimonials, consider giving a service, a portion of your service away for free in exchange for a testimonial. People do it all the time at the beginning. So you've got to understand that receipts are necessary for brand authority. Every single person I work with, I am going to ask them for a testimonial. Every single one. Every time I presented my courses when I was giving live continuing education courses for people that were healthcare providers for their licensure renewal, there was a testimonial section in there. And y'all, I use all of those testimonials like it was nobody's business, posting it up as like little quote cards and all of those things of that nature. I have it on my website. I have it on my speaker media kit. I have it wherever I need it to demonstrate my brand authority. That's what people look for. And so you've got to really take the time to be conscious of that and don't be afraid to ask multiple times if you have to because people are busy. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you, right? It doesn't mean that, they didn't really think your services were good or not. If they keep coming back to you, they thought something was good, get that testimonial. This is what I need y'all to lock down as you're building your brand authority. Some people think I need to have 10 different types of social media channels. I'm going to tell you today, focus on one. Focus on one. Now, pump the brakes for a second. I'm not telling you to close down your LinkedIn and your Twitter and your YouTube channel and this and that, whatever. Choose one that you're going to give 150% to. My channel for that is Instagram. I love Instagram. Am I still on Facebook? Yes. Do I still post on Facebook? Absolutely. What's great about Instagram is I post on Instagram, it gets shown into Facebook, right? It's the same content, but I'm more concerned about visually how my Instagram channel looks than I am concerned about my Facebook. Where am I finding people? I'm finding them on Instagram at this time of this actual recording. Give it your 150%. So, for instance, when I'm looking for a cold audience member organically, I'm putting my focus in on Instagram. That's where my focus is. You can't, as a new or a solopreneur that it's not working with a full marketing team, put 150% into 10 different social media channels. It's just not going to happen. So I'm very intentional about when I'm posting. I look at my insights, the analytics. I'm very particular with how I'm posting it, what it looks like visually, the type of hashtags I'm using. I'm looking at how well the hashtags are working for that as I'm using organic reach. Why? Because that's my one social media channel. I have multiple, but I put my biggest effort into Instagram because that's my one channel that I'm focusing on. And when I master that, I'll move on to another one, right? But I understand my sales funnel and where it starts and how I'm able to provide the value to my potential client. And I start that sales funnel in my Facebook group or in my email list. And I'm always sharing on that social media channel that I really love where people can start getting to know me, getting to trust me, and getting to like me if they so desire. So lock down where that social media channel is, understand where that sales funnel point of entry is. And I need you every single day to have a call to action to join where your sales funnel starts. Okay? And I want you to remember these three pieces of content. You need to have content that is shareable, value content. So that's the kind that you want people to be sharing in other places because it's so valuable to them. It talks about specific pain point that they're dealing with. It's providing some knowledge, some credibility for you as an expert. You need to have content that is showing your social proof. So whether that's you working, whether that is a client testimonial, you need to have consistently some value, shareable content, some social proof content. And then third, what do you think the third one is? What do you think that is? I think an important part of building brand authority is showing who you are, your story, what makes you unique, because we're all unique. That's what's important to me. Most people, they're flooded down with so many different options. You've got to make ways and distinguish how you're different. And when I look at my insights and when I look at the growth of my business, people love it when I share just about me. So, those are the three pieces of content that have been very important to me with building a brand. And for me, being a heart centered entrepreneur, sharing my values, sharing what's important to me, sharing, my own journey in some ways, having that authenticity coupled with social proof and value content have been instrumental in me growing a brand. And now I'm doing it all over again as a business strategist in 2020, of all the years to start. Like I thought about doing this years ago. Some of y'all are sitting on the fence, not doing it, and you thought about it years ago and you still haven't done it. And you know what? I wasted years of an opportunity to grow a stronger brand. And now I'm starting in 2020 in the midst of a pandemic. But here you go, right? I'm always extra with it. What other time would I choose? What other time would Jasmin choose other than to pivot in the midst of a pandemic? Okay? So we really all have a choice. You can either choose to take action or inaction. And understand that, sometimes when you're building brand authority, this is one of the key things. I tell people, if you got to put a pump on your business and pump the brakes, that's okay, but still nurture a community. Still nurture them. You may not be able to do, like, if you're working a 9 to 5, you may not be able to do that full-fledged, content and the services and all that stuff. All right, fine, that's great. I've had people and clients contact me, and they're like, I'm not in the place right now to do the full-fledged business right now. I'm still working on what it is that I'm going to offer. Okay, that's great. But are you building a community so that when you have that course, or you have that program, or you have that product you want to sell, they're there? You've got some people to sell to? Come on now. Start building community now. That's free. Social media is free. Build that community now. Build the community now so that when you are ready, you'll never be fully ready. But when you're ready, you'll have someone that you can speak to. Because the hardest thing that I've seen businesses do is not build that brand, or that authority, right? That brand authority or that community. And then they spend a tremendous amount of time building, a product or a service of some sort. And then they go out and selling it, and they got to sell it to a cold audience. And let me tell you something, selling to a cold audience, honey, woo, that's no joke. That will make you want to say, am I really meant for this? You know? Is it possible? Of course it is. But it will make your life easier if you start now with building your community and do it right. Understand who it is that you're serving, how you're serving them, and what transformation you're going to provide for them. What is the result? What is the result? So when I was building my business, I created a community. I started writing blogs. I created a community. And then when I was ready to get it popping, I did. All right, y'all. So drop in the comment section what your biggest takeaway is. What's your biggest takeaway for tonight? What you going to start? Okay. What are you going to start? Because I think it's important that at the end of this, why are you in this group? I hope you're in here to learn, to be encouraged, and to be surrounded by other people who are business owners. But I think it's important you don't shy away. Don't shy away from the group. Know that we're here to support you. There's a reason why I show up even when I'm not 100%. There's a reason why I continuously show up, because I honestly am deeply invested in your growth. I want you to win. Why? Because when you win, I know that we as women especially are going to benefit our communities. It's a beautiful thing when we're all winning. I want us to all win. I want you to get everything that you desire. Why? We have a healthier community. We have more people happy about living. There's nothing more painful in this world than being in a situation where you're living an unfulfilled life. I saw that in my mother's own journey. So there's many ways I can help you. You can stay in this group. We are doing a contest that will give you a Amazon gift card if you invite other entrepreneurs. You can work with me by joining the Start Your Biz membership, which is $99 a month, and it's invitation only. These are for people that are at the beginning stages of their business. They're at $0 that they're making a month, or they may be making up to 3K a month. That's a good way to start, to have an accountability coach. Aikisha, if you see her posting in here, she is amazing. I love her. She's my community manager and accountability coach. She will be helping you along the way to support you during those really hard times as you're starting your business and trying to scale it to up to 3K a month. In addition to that, we have a mindset coach, Amanda. She comes in once a month. And of course, I come in once a month. And then you have a library that you'll have access to content. And then for those who are making 3K, 5K a month and want to get to those consistent 5-figure months that will lead them to their 6-figure year, I have a 6-month group coaching program. It's called the 100K Framework. And I invite you to find out more information about that. And of course, I have private one-on-one coaching for 1 month or 3-month options. I am doing a beta test that starts next Monday. And typically, to work with me one-on-one for 1 month, it's around $3,500. And so I would suggest, if you are in a position where you want to work one-on-one with me and be able to have Voxer access to me and be able to work amongst a group, but have live Q&A where it's more intimate and we'll be able to see each other and you'll be able to ask whatever questions that you need and learn some of the key fundamental topics that I think are necessary to accelerate someone's business. My Biz Accelerator is being beta tested right now for $499 or 2 payments of $249.50. So please, please give it some consideration. If you're on the fence, set up a call with me. I'm going to put my link in the comments later on so that you'll be able to set that up. And let's start working towards your goals. There's no reason why you should be doing this alone. And I just want to say one more thing. I do have a scholarship grant that opens up next week. It's in honor of my mother who was not able to achieve any of her goals due to financial constraints. So every quarter, I'm offering a scholarship in her honor and her legacy. It will open up and I will share it with you all on Monday. Please, please, if you feel that you want to fill it out, do it and don't procrastinate, okay? Because we want to help you. I don't choose the recipient. It actually goes to a scholarship committee because I don't want to get emotionally invested in that, okay? So a scholarship committee reads your answers and they choose who the recipient should be. So that scholarship opens up next week, October 26, 2020. All right. So let me take my brilliant mind and map out your biz strategy. You can set up a one-on-one call with me or DM me. I answer your DMs more than likely with a voice message because it's much easier for me to respond. Share your interest in the form provided. I'll put that in the comments. We can get ready and chat. And of course, I got to end this presentation with Dale Carnegie. If you want to conquer fear, don't sit home and think about it, honey. Dale didn't say that, but I like adding honey. Go out and get busy. It's been such a wonderful time spending time with you again, and I look forward to our next training. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Dive in deeper by visiting the show notes for this episode or listening to more episodes on jasminhaley.com. If you found value in the show, share with a friend or leave us a review. I'll see you next time.